am reacting to your Friday Night SmackDown Hot Takes. Hot Takes is a weekly video series where I give you all a platform to be able to voice your thoughts, whether those are good thoughts, bad thoughts, or everything in between about the world of professional wrestling. So if you'd like to be featured in the next episode of Hot Takes, make sure that you're following me over on X because I ask for your hot takes there after every episode of Raw, SmackDown, and every single WWE Premium Live event. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications. If you're a wrestling fan, I'm incredibly confident that you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. And if the daily content here isn't enough, go check out the Patreon, patreon.com/SantiZap. Over there, we upload so much more extra content like the Raw reviews and SmackDown reviews and a bunch of other series that never get uploaded here because we use footage over there and it would just get blocked here due to copyright. So go check it out. Link in the description or link in the pinned comment. Let's get started. Is it just me or is anyone else getting the feeling that the bald fraud that is Dwayne is going to show up during their match? I'm not hoping for him to return, but if he is, I think it's going to involve Cena possibly turning face after the match. This makes me upset, and it makes me upset because I am once again starting to fall for the idea that The Rock might actually return to the WWE at SummerSlam. And I do this to myself time after time. I set myself up for disappointment expecting The Rock to return at a place where it makes sense for him to return, only for him to not return, and there I am just holding my dick. And there's no concrete evidence showing that The Rock is going to return. Sure, there's some breadcrumbs, some clues here or there, but damn it, that is enough for me to make me think that it's gonna be Bloodline rules once again. And the street fight environment certainly makes it plausible for him to logically show up in the middle of the match, and if he does show up, maybe it is to once again give Cody Rhodes the opportunity to sell his soul, except maybe Cody won't flinch this time and he actually does. Either way, I'm expecting The Rock, and I hate that I'm expecting The Rock because every time I expect The Rock, I just walk out very sad about The Rock not showing up. But WWE is really hyping up this year's SummerSlam. You might not be a fan of the card, but WWE is really investing a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of resources into making this SummerSlam feel like it's on par with something like WrestleMania so they could go around to cities around the world and sell it for $8, $9, $10, $15 million for them to just host it in that city. And The Rock could certainly be that guy that could move the needle to make some other schmuck city pay a ton of money for next year's SummerSlam. I'm very curious on what they're going to pull during the main event with the street fight stipulation being added now. Curious on if there's a big appearance or possibly a return during the main event, but I'm excited though. Immediately, the first thing, and this makes me ill to even say it, I'm expecting Travis Scott. I just don't think that WWE can just put Travis Scott under the rug and pretend like he was never involved in the main event of WrestleMania 41. At some point or another, Cody has to get his hands on him. At some point or another, you have to pay that story off in some way, shape, or form. We can't continue to ignore the fact that the Travis Scott travesty happened. And with the street fight environment, it certainly opens up an endless amount of possibilities of different people getting involved in this match. I'm expecting pretty much everyone to get involved in this, including, as I already mentioned, potentially The Rock and Travis Scott, sadly. That's not me saying that I want Travis Scott. That's just me saying that at some point they need to address the whole Travis Scott thing, and I think that they're going to do it at SummerSlam. I think we should do an over-under on how many people get involved in this match. I have to imagine it's going to be at least 6 people, aside from John Cena and Cody Rhodes, will get involved in this match in some capacity. Right? You got to imagine you probably have the possibility of Seth Rollins, which if it involves Seth Rollins, then you've got Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed as well. The Rock, Travis Scott, you can have some good guys in there like Randy Orton. Of course, you got to have Jelly Roll, just kidding. But I'm also like not entirely kidding. I'm sure there's a possibility that WWE might insert Jelly Roll into this in some way, shape, or form if Travis Scott is out there. CM Punk, Sami Zayn, all of the typical usual suspects of people that could get involved in these styles of matches. I'm fully expecting to get involved here. I guess she's not making it to SummerSlam. The women's IC title sin has been the best story out of all of the title belts, including the WWE title, but the US title can't even get in-ring time. Hell, it's not even about getting in-ring time. They're not even getting time at all in backstage segments, vignettes, or anything. I think on this episode of Friday Night SmackDown, she was seen in the background of the Damian Priest promo, I think, and we just saw her walking around with Keanu Kiana James? I don't know. WWE seemingly loves to do this with the mid-card champions that they have no plans or anything for them to just lurk in the background. And unfortunately, it seems like this is going to be the destiny for Giulia, which is just heinous. To me, the writing was on the wall when they had Giulia have like a super mediocre performance in the women's battle royale. I mean, she was the only champion in that battle royale. Even the IC champion wasn't in that. You would think that she'd at least have a run into the final four, especially considering it was Stephanie Vaquer who won, and her and Stephanie, and by her I mean Giulia, they have a ton of history together. So if WWE didn't even want to do that, put the lowest amount of effort on Giulia and the championship in a battle royal, I just don't see any genuine hope for this championship developing a good or interesting storyline or feud, sadly. I know I'm being pessimistic, but I don't think I'm just being pessimistic. I think I'm also being realistic here as well. WWE on Netflix is genuinely the greatest thing ever because I get Monday Night Raw, NXT, SmackDown, every single WWE premium live event, all of the WWE original shows, and a giant catalog of old WWE shows, all with my Netflix subscription. Unfortunately, that is just not the case for many of you because a bunch of you have to watch these shows on traditional cable where you get peppered with a bunch of lame commercials. And while you're on commercials, I actually get more of the WWE shows that I love. So let's fix that today with today's video sponsor, Surfshark VPN. With Surfshark, you can easily change your location to say the Great White North of Canada, and you'll be able to get Netflix programming from that region, which of course will include all of your favorite WWE shows without commercials. Plus, while you're there, you can catch some of the other shows that are exclusive to Canadian Netflix if you wanted to. By the way, we still have The Office on Netflix. You can also try Surfshark risk-free because of their 30-day money-back guarantee policy. But guess what? It gets even better because if you visit surfshark.com/SantiYT, you're gonna get 4 months extra on a 2-year plan. By the way, Netflix has WWE programming for the next 5 years or so, so a 2-year plan is something that you're gonna get full use out of. Again, folks, that's surfshark.com/SantiYT to get 4 months extra on your 2-year plan. Thanks again to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get you back to all of the wrestling that you came to talk about. At first, I had very low expectations for the Cena versus Cody match at SummerSlam after their Mania 41 match. But now that this is a street fight, my expectations are starting to get higher and higher. I just pray that it's better than their WrestleMania match. Listen, I don't want to jinx it, but I think that you're safe with regards to it not being worse than the WrestleMania 41 match because I just don't think that that's possible. But this stipulation wasn't just something that I'm glad happened. I feel like it was something that was absolutely vital and necessary to get people excited for this because the idea of Cody Rhodes versus John Cena, they burned it, right? They already used it. They used it at WrestleMania and they absolutely ruined it. It was terrible. It wasn't good. People have nothing good to say about John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. It's been by far the worst of the John Cena retirement tour matches so far. But making this into a street fight certainly opens up the door for shenanigans, and shenanigans has been what has made the last several John Cena retirement tour championship matches very good. And if you're going to add shenanigans and you're going to have a big stage like this, it should be good. But again, I don't blame you for having bottom of the barrel expectations for this because frankly, I do too. The term, quote, extreme rules is better than, quote, street fight. Sure, but it makes a lot more sense to do street fight when Cody is about to leave to go film Street Fighter. So I feel like it's just sort of a nice little tongue-in-cheek reference for those that know that Cody Rhodes is going to go off and play Guile in Street Fighter. How sick would it be to have a guy playing a dude from Street Fighter who literally just had a street fight? It's just sort of perfect. After watching SmackDown, it feels like a double turn is coming at SummerSlam. All the signs are there. Babyface Cena is right around the corner. So these are the crumb trails that we were talking about earlier. John Cena being a kind of babyface-ish in that promo. The fact that he keeps getting a ton of positive crowd reactions across the world, regardless of where he goes. People do not want to boo John Cena. The fact that Cody Rhodes came out with those Jeffrey Dahmer-ass glasses that The Rock wore. I think it was during the Raw Netflix debut, wearing the Rolex from The Rock. Like, the breadcrumb trail is there for me to think that The Rock is going to return, but also I see it. I see the possibility of the double turn. And the double turn is such a easy story that they can tell here because the fact that the narrative has been that Cody Rhodes won't flinch anymore, maybe The Rock gives him the opportunity to sell his soul one more time in the middle of a match at SummerSlam, and he doesn't flinch this time. He sells his soul to The Rock, and then just like that, we've got heel Cody. All of this had to have been on purpose. The glasses and the watch being worn on the same day of the contract signing. Do you see why I'm starting to think that The Rock is going to make a return? But once again, I know I'm just being set up to be disappointed once again. But hell, if I'm not disappointed, then it'll just be a pleasant surprise. Why have a Raw superstar take time away from booking the SmackDown US Championship? Seriously, we need to start making noise or else Triple H will treat her like every Japanese reign, nothing but backstage segments. Giulia deserves better booking. Listen, I will never complain about getting more Stephanie Vaquette in my life. You guys know, huge fan of Stephanie Vaquette. I think that she is amongst the treasures that the WWE has that they can build the women's division around. So I will never complain about getting Stephanie Vaquette on SmackDown. But you make a very fair point. What is Stephanie Vaquette doing on Friday Night SmackDown when you refuse to feature your mid-card champion? The storyline between Stephanie Vaquette and the Secret Hervis could easily continue on Monday Night Raw. If you're willing to make time for that on SmackDown, why aren't you willing to make time for the Women's US Championship? And let's also be honest about the fact that Stephanie Vaquette versus the Secret Hervis isn't particularly the most appetizing affair for Stephanie Vaquette. Again, I love any mention or idea or appearance of Stephanie Vaquette, but the Secret Hervis isn't something that's selling me. At least not selling me to the point where I think it should sacrifice Giulia's TV time for the sake of featuring Secret Hervis versus Stephanie Vaquette, especially a Secret Hervis without Chelsea Green there. So I get it. You know what? I will wave this flag. I think that this was a bit of a weird decision as well. Cody Rhodes turning heel would be an epic moment, but it doesn't make sense long term. Which babyface would there be to take his spot as a face of the company? Punk, Jacob Fatu are the only two names that I can think of. I think you just have really short-term memory. The WWE ran with their top babyface turning heel for like 4 years. His name was Roman Reigns. And WWE didn't have a babyface that could step up to Roman Reigns to really be the guy to take him out, to really be the face of the company. For a while there, the WWE ran with the face of their company being a heel. And what's stopping them from doing the same thing with Cody Rhodes here? It's a blueprint that they already mastered with Roman Reigns that they could easily follow up with Cody Rhodes as well. In fact, I would actually say that there's more available baby faces to make a heel Cody Rhodes more interesting than there were baby faces when Roman was the top dog as a heel in the WWE throughout the pandemic era and in 2023. So we're actually better positioned for a heel Cody Rhodes than we were for a heel Roman Reigns. That's how I see things. I genuinely want to know what contract rules are in WWE because in no universe would this work in real life. Yeah, somebody's got to talk to the WWE with regards to consent because they've already had an unconsensual wedding and now they're having unconsensual contract signings. My friends, this is not how contract law works. Just because you took John Cena's hand and you weekend at Bernie's him into signing doesn't mean that the contract is legal, I do declare. Yeah, this has been a thing with the WWE for a really long time. It's always goofy, it's always dumb, but whatever, man. Welcome to wrestling. I did laugh audibly when Cody Rhodes has Cena down on the ground after he whooped his ass, put him through a table and said, yeah, you should have read the fine print. It's a street fight. It's like, Cody, how could he have read the fucking fine print considering you knocked him out and forced him to sign? This is all stupid, but it doesn't really impact anything, so it's a good kind of stupid, whatever. But yeah, folks, don't think that this is how contract law works in real life. You can't just knock people out and then force them to sign and then boom, all of a sudden you own their assets. The Alexa and Charlotte story has so much potential and so many different routes that it can happen in their match against Roxanne and Raquel at SummerSlam. I hope the potential is not wasted. The potential is certainly there. I was starting to rack my brain, like what can we compare this to from the past that WWE has done? And I think that the closest thing is Team Hell No, Daniel Bryan and Kane back in the earlier 2010s. And that tag team blew up in terms of popularity. Hell, they were a tag team that not only were they in the tag team division, they were also having main event profile matches as well. And I think that that is the level of peak that Charlotte and Alexa can reach as a tag team. They can be a flag bearer in the tag team division while also having a foot in main event level storylines, considering they're both main eventers as well. I really hope that this is something that they run until at the very minimum WrestleMania, maybe even beyond, because like you said, this has a tremendous amount of legs. And if you weren't going to do anything with Charlotte and Alexa, I feel like you found, whether it's by accident or not, a little bit of a diamond in terms of what to do with them for the foreseeable future. I think they're going to win the tag titles at SummerSlam, and because because main eventers like Charlotte and Alexa will hold the titles, you're going to see the tag titles appear more on PLEs like it was with Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. I really hope WWE don't split up Charlotte and Alexa, as I'm not going to lie, this duo is quality both in ring and in backstage segments, and I can really see WWE giving these two the tag titles, which would be massive for the rebirth of the women's tag team division. I think for the first time in a really long time, the WWE is actually weirdly trying with their women's tag team division, because they're actually reuniting old teams like the Kabuki Warriors, making new teams like Raquel and Roxanne, Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. They had a big match on the Evolution PLE. They have a SummerSlam match booked here. Maybe WWE is actually trying with the women's tag team division, and putting the tag titles on main eventers, as we already talked about, is a great surefire way to give this division like more eyeballs, a bigger spotlight. We just need WWE to not just simply rely on the spotlight of the main eventers carrying the titles and actually build a division around them, because that's what they didn't do alongside Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. Even though those titles were appearing on PLEs every single month, they didn't build the division around the champions. The division was the champions, and that can't happen this time around. Not gonna lie, an I Quit match would have been so much more interesting and unpredictable. Either way, though, I'm excited for this. This would have, in my opinion, been the worst possible stipulation, mostly because I Quit matches have been ruined in the WWE. Funnily enough, ruined by John Cena, because it was John Cena that really created the mantra that you can't really make the top babyface say I quit unless, I don't know, you put a shotgun to their mom's head these days. I always make the joke in last man standing matches that the only way to keep the babyface down in a last man standing match is to chop off their legs with a chainsaw, and it's not that much different with I Quit matches. And now you want to put Cody Rhodes in an I Quit match? Brother, he's never gonna say I quit. Those I Quit matches are so formulaic. Babyfaces refuses to say I quit. The only way to make them say I quit is to threaten somebody that they love. It's just been played out at this point, unfortunately. Played out and ruined by John Cena in the Ruthless Aggression era and in the 2010s. Double turn at SummerSlam. I think Rock helps Cody win the title, officially owning Cody's soul, leaving John Cena questioning why he trusted The Rock if Rock shows up for work. Well, they still haven't even answered the question, why did John Cena even align himself with The Rock in the first place? Why did John Cena align himself with Travis Scott? Hopefully we get answers to this, but let's be honest, I'm not expecting to get answers. The double turn, I think, is absolutely on the table. I think there's a strong possibility that it could happen, but I'm not entirely sold on the idea, which means if it does happen, I'll still be genuinely shocked. I think for me, the reason why I'm leaning towards it happening is because something that we already talked about, this idea that Cody won't flinch again if given the opportunity to sell his soul to The Rock, considering so much of the narrative is, I'm not flinching again. I will not flinch. I will do everything that it takes. If he's really willing to do everything that it takes, is he willing to do the thing that he wasn't willing to do the first time around when he faced Cena, which was sell his soul to the final boss? It's gonna be Bloodline rules. I also want The Rock back so that we can do all of those brain rot memes again, you know? The Kabuki Warriors should be added to the Raquel, Roxy versus Charlotte Alexa match at SummerSlam in a triple threat ladder match. Why? I mean, respectfully, I love the Kabuki Warriors, but the Kabuki Warriors have just been losers since reuniting. They lost at Evolution and they lost on Monday Night Raw. What logic does it make sense to add them to this ladder match, considering they've just lost and lost and lost time after time? Not saying that the match wouldn't be good, but like there's no logical way to insert them in there. I really enjoy how they're building Priest versus Black. I hope that this feud leads to a SummerSlam match instead of a basic match on SmackDown. Listen, WWE loves them some Damian Priest. You guys know that they love to feature him in high-profile feuds, high-profile matches, and in high-profile shows. Say whatever you want about Damian Priest, WWE is going to feature him heavily, and they're going to feature him at SummerSlam, which is good for Aleister Black, who has not been able to get on a PLE card as of yet. And if it means having to piggyback off of Damian Priest to give us a PLE match for Aleister Black, I'm all here for that. On top of that, the story has actually been rather interesting. I really like the dynamic between these two, and I really think that they could put together a really solid match together. Don't forget, it's a 2-night SummerSlam. These are the types of matches that you can feature when you have all of this extra time and the extra night. So yeah, I really hope that this turns into a SummerSlam match and that this isn't something that they do on the go-home episode to SummerSlam like WWE loves to do with many matches that they build up towards, seemingly towards a PLE. That seems to have been the formula for like the women's US title and the tag titles. Hopefully they don't do this with Aleister Black and Damian Priest. The SmackDown tag titles need to be booked at SummerSlam in a multi-team tag team TLC. I would not hate this. Listen, you already snuffed them from WrestleMania, and then you put them on SmackDown, and then they stole the show that weekend. Let's make them steal the show at SummerSlam. I know, WWE, I know what you're thinking. You're going to do this the night before SummerSlam. Don't put this on SummerSlam. You have 2 nights. This has been your most consistently good division for the last 12 months at this point. Put them on a PLE. Give them a TLC match. 3-way, 4-way, 5-way, 6-way. I don't know. Do whatever you want. Just get these titles on SummerSlam in some capacity, please. I'm so glad for Aleister Black getting good creative story for his new character. This character feels like the old Aleister Black from NXT Black and Gold. He doesn't give a damn anymore. His first few weeks back felt like he was just there for filler, and now he has a story. It's almost like this is what I want them to do with Rusev. Like, let's give Rusev, a tangible, meaty story to latch onto, but I think it's just going to be matches with Sheamus for the foreseeable future for Rusev. Meanwhile, for Aleister Black, we're slowly building all of these blocks. The little feud with The Miz, the micro feud with Carmelo Hayes, then the stuff with R-Truth has now coalesced into what's going to be the biggest match since he returned to the WWE with Damian Priest, hopefully at SummerSlam. My question is this a heel? I don't know, because this is about as Aleister Black as it gets, just a guy that doesn't give a damn. You might call him an anti-hero, but the way that he's been targeting Damian Priest, the way that he was kind of cheesed and a little bit disrespectful, very disrespectful after his clean loss to R-Truth, usually signals that that's a heel. But again, it's tough to tell with somebody like Aleister Black. Where's The Miz? I'm glad Melo is getting featured this week, but I can't remember the last time that I saw the 2 of them together. I hope that they didn't drop that storyline, as I really enjoyed the mentor/mentee dynamic they had. I don't know where The Miz is. In fact, it's been a couple of weeks. In fact, I think I've been seeing The Miz play more golf than being on WWE TV over the last couple of months. And it's a shame, because I really did like the dynamic between The Miz and Carmelo Hayes, but I do think that they've completely dropped this entirely. I just don't know what they're going to do with Carmelo Hayes, man. Like, what's the play here? Is it switching him over to Monday Night Raw to give him a new scenery? I mean, I think it's simple. Just allow him to get some wins under his belt on Friday Night SmackDown. I think that Damian Priest versus Carmelo Hayes could be a good feud on its own, but instead they're using Carmelo Hayes as a stepping stone for Damian Priest to build him up to SummerSlam. I don't know, man. I'm nervous for Carmelo Hayes' long-term viability as a main eventer. I just don't see anything that's telling me that WWE is going to treat him as such anytime soon. Prior to Naomi's cash-in, all of the hype that this match had was heavily centered around the potential Naomi cash-in. I'm actually going to double down on what you said. I think all of the hype of this match was on the potential of a cash-in. Ever since they removed that from the equation in what was a fantastic, super shocking cash-in, and with Naomi going over to Monday Night Raw, I've lost all hype for this match. This is one of your marquee matches from Friday Night SmackDown, and they really should be featuring both of these two every single week in the ring with promos, attacking each other, whatever it might be. I just don't think that these pre-recorded vignettes for a match of this caliber, a match that's this big and important for the women's division on Friday Night SmackDown, is getting the treatment that it ought to. Remember, fellas, there's only 2 more episodes of Friday Night SmackDown before SummerSlam, and one of those episodes is the night before SummerSlam. So there isn't a lot of runway to build Tiffany versus Jade here. And so far with the runway that they've had, I don't think that they've done a great job so far. They've had Jade go out there a couple of times and be part of a group of people that also happens to include Tiffany Stratton. Like when it was Tiffy, Trishy, and Jade, there was that promo with Jade, Naomi, and Tiffy. Like, we need Tiffy and Jade. Like, actually, what if the new Bloodline car crash was caused by Zilla Fatu? Zilla is wrestling on Slammiversary this Sunday at TNA, so it's possible that he is involved in the car crash story and shows up at SummerSlam in the Jacob versus Solo Steel cage match. This is the closest that we have connected Zilla Fatu to the WWE main roster. Like, we are a stone's throw away from featuring Zilla Fatu on WWE TV now that he's in the WWE ecosystem appearing at TNA Slammiversary. And it wouldn't be crazy. Look, it's not normal for WWE to just have people debut on the main roster anymore. More often than not, people have to do their time on NXT unless you can fit into the Samoan My Family Tree Bloodline storyline. We've seen that WWE is just willing to debut you there. I'm not saying that it's gonna happen, but I'm also not going to completely remove it from the possibility of it happening. I like the the idea that he has the Fatu name in his ring name because it allows him to maybe get involved in the match to align himself with Jacob, somebody who has been dealing with having to fight off the numbers game for weeks now. Although it seems like the numbers game doesn't really impact Jacob because he's been beating the shit out of MFT every week. But yeah, this is something to keep an eye on because Zilla Fatu is now revolving around the WWE universe. They missed the perfect opportunity to bring back the infamous eye patch. I didn't even think of that. Honestly, now I'm mad. Like, knowing that they didn't give him an eye patch for the rest of the episode after the fake car crash is upsetting. Had they given him an eye patch, I don't think that they would have been able to prove that it was a fake crash. Cody's still holding the contract while attempting the frog splash is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I think it was one of those situations of like, I don't know what to do with my hands during a photo. He's like, I don't know where to put this contract while I'm trying to put Cena through a table. It was already weird enough seeing him do a little tadpole splash, something that we don't really see Cody Rhodes do. But maybe doing it with the contract in hand maybe made him a little bit heavier to add that extra damage to things. But yeah, this is a goofy picture. Future WWE champion. I think this was the most insufferable set of police officers that I've ever seen. It looked like I was watching a Darman video level acting with these police officers. Kiana James is coming back. What does WWE have planned for her? Well, if it's just to hang out in the background with Giulia, considering Giulia has nothing, I'm assuming that the plan for Kiana is also nothing. Solo just keeps on getting better. His facial expressions are so comedic gold, and he is such a fun character. Hopefully he retains at SummerSlam. So it's confirmed we're getting Jacob versus Solo steel cage match. And hell, the last time that we saw Solo in a steel cage match, it was one of the best matches of the year in that match against Cody Rhodes in the debut of SmackDown coming back to the USA Network. I do always find it funny that the cage match is always done to keep people out of the cage, but it always ends with people getting involved and climbing into the cage or just opening the door because they don't lock the damn thing. But yeah, expect crazy shenanigans. I also wouldn't mind if Solo were to somehow retain here. I just don't see it. I think that this is set up for Jacob Fatu to once again get another big celebration at back-to-back major shows, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, considering this is a guy that WWE clearly is about to strap a mega rocket booster to the moon. All right, folks, thank you so very much for watching today's episode of Hot Takes. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Goodbye. Get out of here.